This is Ben Television. My name is Kayode Ogundamisi. It's your program, Politics with KO. Thursdays on this channel, Sky 182.
It's difficult to actually pick what is sincere, whether politicians are saying the truth. You have to run sometimes to get out of the road when there's no traffic light. But one thing is sure, Nigerians want a conversation about their country. What we do on Politics with KO is get the conversation rolling about Nigeria and Africa. And it's 9 p.m. UK time, 10 p.m. Nigerian time during the winter period.
My name is Kayode Ogundamisi. Good evening, viewers. You're welcome to Ben TV. My name is Kayode Ogundamisi, and the program, as usual, is Politics with KO. For our viewers across the world, you know about Nigeria's insecurity, and every time you hear about a bomb blast, it's either in the heart of Maiduguri, which is the epicenter of the crisis in Nigeria, or most part of the northern part of Nigeria. So it's always been negative news about Maiduguri, and we all also know that there's been a lot of talk about what attracts people, what really attracted Boko Haram to Maiduguri. That's a conversation for political analysts who want to deal in the source and the genesis of Boko Haram. But there's also another side to Maiduguri that people don't talk about. There's a beautiful side to Maiduguri. And what we try to do on this program tonight is to make sure that we bring someone who lives in Maiduguri. A number of times people talk about Maiduguri, and they're talking about Maiduguri from Kano, or from Abuja, or from Lagos, or from New York, or from London, as we usually do. But tonight, I've got with me in the studio Fatima Abubakar. Fatima Abubakar lives in Maiduguri, Nigeria. Fatima, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let me say to our viewers, I took a lot of effort to get Fatima to agree to come on this program, and we all should understand why. If you live in a city where it's, the terrorists take control, literally, of the city center, and your family still live there, you fear for your lives. So we agree with Fatima that tonight we're just going to talk about our work. She recently took photographs about the other side of Maiduguri people don't see. And one striking feature of that photograph is that people actually try to live a normal life. So I would want to get our viewers to see a photograph put together by Fatima. She took this in Maiduguri just last month, if I'm correct. Is it March of 2015?
Yes.
So let's see this other part of Maiduguri that we hardly see. And when we come back, we would have a conversation with Fatima.
Are we really listening? Do we really see? Is this the great future? Is this where we thought we would be? Are we really hoping? Do we really feel that the sins of the fathers will not let us be free? You see, frustration in my country, welcome to my reality, and the people living in poverty, and I see this every day. Where I be, I don't know where I stand, don't know where I'm going in this land, day after day. Now what till we go say, make a change today? Are we really gonna get there? Do we really know how? Are we really gonna make it? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know now. Is there any future? Oh, Jesus. Someday we will make it if afraid of speaking out the truth. You know I know fear you do, and I know that changes not for those who wait. And will it take eternity to see a consciousness to all unite and face our true enemy? You see, frustration in this country, this is your reality, and people living in poverty, and you see this every day. Where you be? Do you know where you stand? Do you know where you're going in this land? Day after day after day after day after day. Are we really gonna get there? I don't know, I just don't know how. Is there a future for our kids? Someday we can make it if we try. Someday we can make it if we try. Someday we can make it if we try. Someday we can. Someday we can make it if we try. Someday we try.
Well, viewers, that's Maiduguri, northern Nigeria, and those photographs were taken by Fatima Abubakar, and we've got the privilege that she's here with us in the studio. And we just want to say special thank you to Pamela Braid for letting us use a soundtrack for that video compilation. So, Fati, let me ask you this. Why did you decide to take photographs of your city? And this is March of 2015, even with the crisis.
I think for those of us that grew up in Maiduguri, it's our hometown. It's the only place we know as home. There is nowhere else that we feel comfortable in. So when I left Maiduguri in 2013 and I came back around 2015, early March, and I went back to Maiduguri, I was viewing it differently from what I had left before. So I wanted to capture, and a lot of my friends couldn't go back because of the insurgency. So I wanted to capture images that they could see, and then there was always nostalgia about home. There was homesickness. A lot of people couldn't go back. So I wanted to have images that they could see and say, oh, my home, at least it's going on. And the media portrays an image of complete destruction. So we wanted to create photos that you can see and actually believe that people still lead normal lives despite of the crisis.
Yeah, I was actually amazed. There are children playing on the street, people playing games. There's a suya spot, there's a galleria. So when the bomb goes off, is it that people still remain there? What do they really do?
When a bomb goes off, for example, in a different side of the town, of course there's the initial shock and the panic and the confusion, but after a while it abates, and then if you're on the other side of town, you're told that there's crisis on the other side, so you remain where you are, or you call someone who is close to where you are and ask if you can sleep over, and then if you do sleep over, then the next day, and if it's crystal clear, then you can start going back home. So it's always preparation. What if something happens? So you have to mentally prepare yourself that if I'm going to this side of town, in case something happens, I would sleep over. Or you wake up really early, like 7 o'clock. Before 5 o'clock, you round up all your activities, and then you're back home before 6 a.m., which is the curfew.
So I have Nigerians who live in the UK, and they are from Lagos, they are from Port Harcourt,
Yeah.
And they say, I don't want to go back to Nigeria, it's too dangerous, you know. And you are from a part of Nigeria where there is every day, even as late as yesterday, there were still killings. There was an attack on one of the barracks in Maiduguri.
Yeah, Giwa Barracks.
Giwa Barracks. And when you pick up your passport, you go back home, you go back to Maiduguri.
Yeah, when I go back to Abuja, I take the 12-hour trip to Maiduguri by road, and it is definitely a dangerous route, and you're conscious of the fact that anything can happen, but then that's the only home, you know. And when you do go back to Maiduguri, you would be surprised to see that it is not as the media portrays. We go on about our daily lives, people go to work, children go to school, despite the interrupted schooling, one day off, one day on, but still people continue with their lives. And I think that we're thriving amidst the adversity. And that.
Okay, we're looking at the images now. Talk us through this image. What are we looking at now?
Well, this image shows, the images show like the checkpoints and,
we've got
all the children going back from,
so these are women
to school. Yeah, these are school children. This is the police officer. Everything looks normal based on the pictures, and those are the ammo tanks that came in during the insurgency. We haven't actually seen any in real life till the insurgency. Yeah. But
okay, so now and viewers, we want you to join this conversation. The numbers to call is 0208-808-0693, and we have Fatima Abubakar in the studio. She's going to be telling us about Maiduguri, the epicenter of the insurgency in Nigeria, what it means to live in that part of the country. It's amazing that people still stay back, you know, but that should not to take away the danger. Are there non-Hausa speaking people still living in Maiduguri?
Yes, we have a number of Yoruba people and Igbo people, but it's minimal compared to what we knew growing up. When we were growing up, we had neighbors that were Igbo, that were Yoruba, and there were Margi people from the other side of Borno State. We lived with Shua people. So because of the insurgency, I think out of fear, a lot of people have left, but there's still a small amount of people from other states that still live in Maiduguri. And when you have a day or so, a few weeks or so of calmness, I think some people come back and try to settle back in. So it's not a huge number, but at least they're still existing.
Okay. So do you really, do you feel that you miss those number of northerners who used to stay there? Do you miss like the Igbo community, the Yoruba community, the Ijaw community? Is there a feeling of, something is not right here?
Yeah, there's definitely a gap. You kind of miss the fact that a lot of them have left because it was a symbiotic existence. They brought their goods from their side of the country, and the Yoruba people also. We actually had people from Calabar. It was a kind of trade where you bring yours. It was a classic kind of trade of barter like we had in back in the days. So they had all their goods, we had all their goods, and we had very an integrated community. They came to our events, we went to their birthdays and their ceremonies. They cooked during Christmas, we go and join them. So it was a very integrated community. We loved the fact that there was diversity in our community.
Okay, and viewers, if you want to call in, remember it's a conversation about Maiduguri, northern Nigeria, and it's still about people try to live a normal life. People still, despite the challenges, people feel that it's home to them. Let me ask you this. Do people feel less down that they should have been better protected with the situation they find themselves?
Well, initially we felt a little neglected, to be honest with you, and I don't want to sugarcoat and say we felt like we were protected. But even our governor was vocal at the time that there was a lot of negligence and there was a lot of nonchalance. And when you leave Maiduguri and then you go to other neighboring towns, there's a kind of flippant kind of response to your pain. So we felt like there was a bit of ridicule in terms of what we were going through, and there wasn't much media attention in the beginning till the girls were kidnapped. So if it was a slow process of attention that came later.
Okay, I've got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, hello, Ogundamisi.
How are you, sir?
My name is Tafida Gazama, although we haven't met, but I've heard more about you, much about you. And yeah, I'm equally from Borno State.
Okay.
And actually, even my village is Sambisa Forest.
Wow.
As I would say, it's part of Sambisa.
So what's the name of your village?
Yafa.
Yafa, okay.
Yes, along close to Lhasa. And
Okay.
so, but those areas, there's nothing except bush. So, I mean, actually, that's where I come from. But what I'm trying to say here is that, yeah, army are winning in another way. And, but in another side of it, I would say they are not winning. Okay. Reason being is this. The same set of politicians that created this havoc are the same people that are coming back. You understand? Even Buhari coming in, I'm a very, very, in fact, I would say I'm Buhari's man. You understand? But the only thing I know, and I have told him, is that would these people imagine again somebody like Alin Dume Anko that will come and cry, and, you know, cry, shed crocodile tears, so to say, on telly, but cannot really put it into practice. These are the enemies of Borno, but you know they use this insurgency to bring themselves back again
into power. Okay, let me quickly ask you this. You're very close to Sambisa. People have they've described Sambisa as a forest. Is it a kind of thick forest that we see in the south? How would you describe Sambisa?
No. It's not a thick forest like south. The area is mountainous.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, the area is mountainous, you were saying.
Yeah, the area is mountainous. There is stream. It's not a straightforward area, you know. Okay. There are trees, but not as thick as that of the south.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your call, and we appreciate that. We got somebody from who lives very close to Sambisa, or who is from close to a village close to Sambisa. I've got a question for you from social media. That's from Dikpo. Ogbeni Dikpo says, could you ask your guest that there are reports of locals supporting the Boko Haram group? Is it true? Is this something you can comment on? Is it true that what is the support like for the insurgency locally? Do they have support?
No, there isn't support for the insurgency locally because, to be honest, the civilian JTF, all of our Borno boys, all of the people that are categorized as juvenile, if you'd say, have actually come out to support us and to protect us. So I wouldn't say there is support for the insurgency. There's more of support for the people at the moment. They're all over, they're protecting us day and night. So I feel like everyone is tired of the insurgency. No one will actually join the enemy and say we'll continue killing our people. They're with us at the moment, so I don't agree.
So you have local people, young people who join the military to try and fight the insurgency?
Yes, when I went back to Maiduguri, there was a civilian JTF, and the governor had helped in grouping all of them into categories, and everyone had an area they were protecting. So everyone was against the insurgency because of the fact that we're tired of it and we want to move forward from it. So I wouldn't say there's support at the moment.
For those who cannot get in online, we know the lines have been very busy. Remember, you can send text messages to 07951 402986, and we're discussing Maiduguri. I've got another caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name.
Good evening, Mr. Kayode.
Hello, good evening. What's your name, sir?
My name is Mark.
Okay, where are you calling from, Mark?
I'm calling from London.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, I just want to ask the lady there, Fatima, a question, because I remember when the first leader of Boko Haram was killed, Obasanjo went there and visited, and his children were like, that their father has been killed. They were complaining that nobody will sponsor them for their education. And the set is known as people that are against Western education. I'm like, I want to ask Fatima if they have been given she believes they have been given the wrong name.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you for your call. From my understanding of my caller's question is that the name Boko Haram, Western education is prohibited.
Yeah.
Is it fitting of the local context? Are people really against Western education? If that is my understanding of his question, you know, are people really averse to Western education in Maiduguri? Let me restrict it to Maiduguri now.
No, I don't think people are against Western education in Maiduguri. We know the merits of being educated. For example, all of our leaders are educated individuals who have come back to give back to the community. So the majority are not against Western education. Okay. We are actually moving towards educating our youth at the moment, so we are not against it. But the minority who feel that there are perils, you know, there are problems with Western education, they are against it, and they are using violence to show that they're against it, but the majority are not against.
Okay, let me ask you,
education.
as a young lady from that part of the country, were you inhibited in any way into having going into secondary school, and I assume university? You graduated from the university,
yes,
and you did a master's. Were there any inhibition whatsoever?
No, there were not any inhibitions. People have this perception that because you're from the north, there are problems like girl-child education, circumcision. There's a narrow-minded approach towards what we're going through in the north. We are very educated individuals, and we have parents that are modern and are educated as well, that allow us to go to university. And at the moment, we have a visionary governor, and we're happy about that. He actually sponsored a few females that went to Sudan to study medicine, and then we had youths that went to Thailand to study soil science, to come back and add to our agricultural sector. So we are really for education for both genders.
How far is Chibok? And for our international viewers, Chibok is where the missing girls come from. How far is Chibok from Maiduguri, the city center? And if you're not sure of the distance, Chibok, that area, from my understanding, what I've read is predominantly Christian.
Yes.
And a lot of people from that part of my Borno state are Christians.
Yeah.
And how do people in, say, Maiduguri, who are mainly Muslims, do they see it as a Chibok problem, Christian problem? The missing girls is none of their issue?
No, after the kidnap, to be honest, in Chibok, we were afraid that it would metamorphosize and come back to Maiduguri, and to a point where they would kidnap girls in Maiduguri as well. So we didn't view it as a Chibok problem. We viewed it as a Borno problem. We were in complete paranoia, because next it would be somewhere in Maiduguri or somewhere in Kondiga, and then they would have more girls in their vicinity. So we were scared for our lives. There was just plain paranoia at that point.
Okay, I've got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Good evening. My name is Joseph. If the meaning of Boko Haram...
Joseph, you can speak a bit louder, please.
If the meaning of Boko Haram means against Western civilization or whatever, now all the guns and machineries and the uniform they wear, they are made from abroad. Why are they? There's no sense in what they're saying.
I agree with you.
You know what you're doing. They're just extremists who want to destabilize the society. As far as I'm concerned.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Listening to Fatima here, we are hearing the other side of Maiduguri, people trying to survive, you know, they're trying to counter insurgency by living their lives. Are you surprised at some of the comments that we're hearing from that part of the country, that people are actually still trying to live a normal life?
Yeah, they're trying to live because they don't want to get carried away with fear.
Yeah.
You know, the fear that because of Boko Haram said, they are just making the Boko Haram to know that because if you start talking about Boko Haram, they are trying to glorify them, which shouldn't be.
True.
So if you ignore them, that will at least show them that this don't even care about us. Okay. It's not the problem of the society.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your call. And I want to ask you, what was life like in Maiduguri before the insurgency? Describe the city you grew up. You were born in Maiduguri.
I was born in Maiduguri.
Yeah, describe Maiduguri before the insurgency, if you can.
Well, Maiduguri before the insurgency was a very quiet, peaceful, almost a sleepy town, as the English people would call it. It was very integrated and very diverse. We had people from all tribes living in Maiduguri. We had really fertile soil, so we engaged in agriculture. We were rearing animals, and it was more of a trade kind of environment. Very friendly, very jovial. We knew our neighbors, we trusted our neighbors, we just went about our normal lives like every other city. So it was a beautiful existence prior to...
The insurgency changed everything.
Yeah, the insurgency changed the vibe in Maiduguri. Yeah. You can no longer trust anybody. You speak with fear, you know, with paranoia, who's watching, who's listening. So I think that element of trust no longer exists, and most of our communities are destroyed, and the people that used to live from the south, for example, are gone. I think we miss that kind of diversity now.
Okay, I would ask you this question. There's the beautiful Doba that we used to see. Doba, I think I saw that watching NTA. Are there any chances that Dobas will still take place in Maiduguri?
Well, if the insurgency, to be honest, if the insurgency were to end, we would still have our colorful ceremonies. We'll have our Dobas, we'll have the turbaning ceremonies, naming ceremonies. We are really known for those kind of colorful. We're almost like the Yoruba in our colorful lifestyle. So that's the kind of nostalgia we feel when we think of Maiduguri. And in one of my images, you can see that there's still a wedding going on, and we still have the cultural aspect of it. So I think eventually it will come, one day at a time.
Okay, your optimism is something all Nigerians should actually imbibe. Because when I tried to visit Maiduguri 2 years ago, I made it up to Kaduna, and my contact said, don't bother coming into Maiduguri. So it's quite pleasing that you and a lot of Nigerians actually still remain in that part of the country.
When I was leaving London to go back to Nigeria, an Italian friend of mine said, you shouldn't go there, there's going to be a civil war, you should seek humanitarian protection. And I felt like I don't want to live in a country living normally by myself, and then half of my extended family is in Nigeria. I would have preferred to just go to Maiduguri, be optimistic that at least some things will go back to normal, and the military will help in protecting us. So my optimism, honestly, should be contagious.
Okay, I've got a text message from CY, and before then, please, the studio lines still remains 0208-808-0693. I've got some people saying they can't get through. Just keep trying. The lines are busy. I must raise up my hand. We acknowledge that. CY says, how easy was it for Boko Haram to gain control of some local governments in Borno State? That's CY testing. This text message is from London. I'm not sure if you're able to, but if it's something you want to comment, how easy is it for people? What's it like that people could just come in easily, come into the city, cause destruction, and move out of the community? Is it that the road networks are so? How easy is it?
For example, in my hometown of Banki, which is a border to Cameroon, we haven't had electricity for 5 years. So to speak of any other kind of modernity or good roads, it's an understatement. So I feel like the reason why they had such an impact was because of the fact that we didn't foresee such kind of devastation. And they grew in sophistication, and they grew in numbers as well. So we didn't estimate... We underestimated the group.
Let me get this straight. You have a community, you're from a community that is bordering Cameroon, which is an international boundary. And there has not been light for 5 years.
Yes, actually, it's just a street. When you cross to the other side of the street, it's Cameroon, and then they have their armed forces standing there. You can see light from afar. They have electricity. But from the other side, there's no electricity. So it's like a contrast of Nigeria, Cameroon, development, underdevelopment.
So you stand on the side of Nigerian border, it's darkness for 5 years, and on the other side,
there's electricity, and they have a very functioning immigration that stops you and asks you questions. Where are you going? And they have a very equipped eye clinic that we go to. to seek
So the Nigerians
out
go to the Cameroonian side?
Oh, wow. Unfortunately.
Oh, God. Well, that's too much to take in. I've got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Aderemi, and I'm calling from London.
All right, go ahead, please.
All right. I just want to commend Fatima.
Yeah.
I mean, it's touching and emotional to see that somebody really, you know, she's optimistic, and she's even willing. I mean, she's willing to go back to Maiduguri despite what is going on. It's just, I mean, it's so annoying and touching how the government have let people like her down. If only the government have done so much, this would not have escalated to this level. And honestly, you know, a lot of things that we don't even know about our country. I mean, she's talking about people living together, the Yorubas, and you know, people living as one society, and you know, so you can tell that the whole problem is mainly political, and the fact that we never have focused leaders who can nip things in the bud before these guys came on board. Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful. I just honestly, I'm short of words, but kudos to you, and I just wish her the best and good luck, you know, and hope we have more responsible leaders, people who can see things from afar instead of playing politics with lives, you know. And that's it, basically.
And did you before you go, did you listen to that part where there are two sides? There's a border, there's a Nigerian side, and they've not had electricity for 5 years, and just down the road, Cameroon side.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's shocking. I mean, that means you can imagine that part of the country, the kind of life they're living there, as if they're not even part of the country.
Okay. You know? Thank you so much for your call.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, some of the things you mentioned are quite shocking, and it also lay credence to the fact that we need to find out more about ourselves as citizens in this country. Yeah. What's the strangest questions you've ever been asked about Maiduguri when people ask you about Maiduguri?
Well, 2 weeks ago, somebody asked me if it rains in Maiduguri, so I found that very strange.
They ask you if it rains in Maiduguri?
Yeah, they asked me if it rains in Maiduguri, what's the temperature like, are people still moving around, how many people still exist. So there's an image in the media as if all of us have died.
So does it rain in Maiduguri?
Yes, it does. We have a rainy season, and then we harvest our crops as well.
So when people ask you such questions, you know, how does it make you feel? I mean, the Eskimos in Canada, they are so far, and we know so much about them. How does it feel when people ask you such strange questions? And I'll come back to our caller. I know you're there, but how do you feel?
No, it just makes me sad because of the fact that we don't know each other as one Nigeria that we claim. We're supposed to travel around, know our cultures. I just blame it on the fact that we don't broaden our horizons by traveling. So it's nothing against my community. I can understand their lack of awareness.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, good evening, Kayode.
Good evening, sir.
I'm calling from London.
Go ahead, Shooks.
Yeah. Thank you, Fatima, for coming to UK and coming to Benton to receive awareness or give us an update of what is happening in Maiduguri State. Like, from what you said at the issue of not having power for 5 years. Hello?
Yeah, she can hear you.
Yeah. Like now, I know some places in Cross River State, bordering Cameroon. I served in Cross River State. They have not seen electric poles.
Wow.
Electric poles for the past since 1960.
Wow.
You see, our leaders don't care, and the leaders in the north are subject the poor people. They have been in power for ages. They don't get them educated. There is no TV. There is nothing to create an awareness. They allow them to do, in fact, the pre-rural life, not even the rural life. The uneducated ones keep dominating. Then the ones that go to primary school will see themselves as God.
Okay.
Ask Fatima.
Yeah.
When this Boko Haram was starting, what is the emirs in the northern part of Nigeria do?
Okay, on that question, I'll let her answer that question straight. What and Chuks has got a very good point there, that there are lots of multi-millionaires, billionaires from the north, of course, across Nigeria.
Of course.
But in the north and the elite, do younger generations feel disappointed that they've not done enough for the people?
Well, to be honest, there's a lot of anger towards the elite globally because of the wide gaps in the inequalities in wealth and all that, and there's no upward social mobility or trickle-down economics because of the fact that the 1% wants to remain in the 1%. So it's a global problem. But the one thing we're happy about is that the elite have given their children world-class education, and that is what we need in Maiduguri at the moment. And the good thing about the fact that they raise their children to study globally means that the children are aware of the problem, and they have set up foundations as well that they want to give back to the community. So I don't feel like it is a waste, and it's just a bonus to us. We need all hands on deck to develop our community. They themselves still have nostalgia. Even when I posted the pictures on social media, you could see them looking at it saying, oh, my Maiduguri. So it is still a hometown to all of us, regardless of whether you're rich or poor.
Okay. All right. We'll take this call before we take a short break. Don't go away. We're still on this program, but let's take this call. Hello. Good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Mr. Olufemi Akinola.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Please, I've once stayed in Katsina. Hello?
Hello. I can hear you.
Yeah, I once stayed in Katsina. I studied in Katsina. I want to know, compared to Katsina and Borno, which is Maiduguri or Chibok or what, that, because I think Katsina, both Kaduna and the Kano, and I find peaceful in that area. I see nothing wrong with the northern there because I have quite a lot of friends and that. But what is the aspect of, in what area can Fatima, because she really challenged me, for going back and standing in there, because this is the type of people we needed. And I want her to just encourage so many people in there that we can do it and build it. It's one Nigeria, because I enjoy everything in the north. I went through all the school there without paying a single penny. That's it. Through the food and everything they pay for us. But we are so one Nigeria. I'm from the south also. And
you schooled in Katsina. Okay, let me let Fatima make a comment. You know, that how can we, my caller is saying that in Kaduna, in Katsina, there seems to be a continuous effort to bring people together. Why is Maiduguri different, and what can we do to strengthen that unity?
I don't think there's this unity at the moment. The one good thing that has come out of the crisis is the fact that it has ended in unifying us. We're all together tired of the insurgency. So everyone has come together, and we're keen to move forward and leave behind the trauma. Even despite the fact that we have a humanitarian crisis on our hands, we're still looking forward to the fact that we're going to rehabilitate those that are still, you know, coping with the trauma of it, and then rebuild our communities. We are all in this together. Okay,
I'll take this text message and then we will go on a short break. It says, the same thing Fatima described that happens in Cameroon border with Maiduguri, it happens in Benin Republic in the south. You see the Nigerian side not having light, and you see on the Benin Republic side there are contrasting, they provide electricity. And that is, well, that's the way we find our country. We're just hoping that things will be different. Let's take a short break. Rose Peter Graham has provided us with a top 10 list of personalities in the last election. She conducted a survey on social media, and let us have a look at what she came up with. Then when we come back, we'll continue with our conversation on Maiduguri. Don't go away. It's Politics with KO.
Sound of deep thunder. There were those whose influence either generated more heat or contributed in calming the tense atmosphere. In the same vein, there were those whose utterances and actions pushed the electorate into taking certain decisions. In this video, we present the top 10 individuals and groups whose influence were as striking as lightning and as piercing as the Harmattan cold. The UK and US government take the number 10 position. They were involved long before Nigerians went to the polls. In doing so, their major goal was to ensure an election devoid of violence of any kind, and they intervened even when voting was ongoing, especially when they suspected any ploy to hijack the electoral wishes of the people. Without their involvement, Nigerians would still be wearing garments of hopelessness. Lai Mohammed and Reverend Father Ejike Mbaka fight it out for the number 9 position. For Lai Mohammed, he will be remembered as the tireless whistleblower of the 2015 general elections, with the constant alarms he raised over PDP schemes to either rig or scuttle the polls altogether. One could safely argue that his glasses were meant to detect evil. However, the distance. Reverend Father Ejike Mbaka, the outspoken Catholic priest, in his message on New Year's Eve, urged President Jonathan to quietly resign for failing as the nation's president. Even though the comment sparked extensive debate, it did not go without an effect on some of the electorates. And now, on the goddess of television, Christiana Amanpour is a number 8. The CNN presenter played a remarkable role in shaping the 2015 general elections, and she unleashed questions like missiles each time she hosted any of the 2 candidates. Her program and professionalism, without a doubt, helped majority of our Nigerian viewers in choosing the path to follow. Getting on with the influencers of the 2015 elections, the foreign media is the number 7. They were actively involved in the struggle to liberate the Nigerian state and never hesitated in stating the facts. An example of this is an editorial published by The Economist on the 7th of February 2015, in which Jonathan was described as a failed president. The editorial, more than anything else, created ripples and changed minds. We have the Show-Arrest team on number 6, Sahara reporters. Bold, fearless and authoritative, they raised several alarms and paralyzed schemes meant to cripple the people's wishes. Their searchlight, as usual, was sharp, penetrating, and it picked out the tiniest mechanisms from the darkest corners. They published results from across polling units nationwide before the official announcement, a move that caused frustration in the PDP's camp. Call Sahara reporters the symbol of justice, and you won't be wrong. Show-Arrest team are highly commended. And at number 5, we have the social media warriors, a selfless group of people who sacrificed their time, resources, and energy in ensuring that the gospel of change reached the very foundation of the earth. They were tireless, determined, vocal, and very committed, even in the face of attacks. In fact, names such as Kayode Ogudamisi, Omojuwa, Abiyamo, Tonya Kabogu, Emeka Okpara, Precious Eze, Aisha Alubankudi, Rose Peter Graham, Funsho Arogudade, Lateef Durosami, Susan Enshaw, Godwin Odusami, Professor Chris Wakobia, the Sahara Reporters crew, Olu Adegoke, and so many more were some of the resilient warriors who remained at the battlefield till the very end, and whose backs suffered 1 or 2 scratches. Olusegun Obasanjo makes another appearance, taking the number 4 position on this occasion of the top 10 influencers of the 2015 general elections. Baba distanced himself from the PDP when he dramatically tore his membership card before the press. The incident, so dramatic, had a significant influence on the outcome of the elections. Obasanjo is an elder statesman and a crafty politician with foresight. Number 3 produces an unbelievable pair of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Goodluck Jonathan. Bola Tinubu insisted on the actualization of a change in Nigeria and turned down offers from a desperate ruling party that wanted to hang on to power even when the move was against public opinion. Goodluck Jonathan. He projected a negative influence and his inability to provide good governance imbued Nigerians with the determination to bundle him out of office at the height of his hope. General Muhammadu Buhari takes the number 2 place for the second time in his determination to exterminate the endemic corruption in Nigeria, influenced voters into electing him as president. And on the number 1 position, ladies and gentlemen, in this category goes to the electoral umpire, Professor Atairu Jega. He is the unsung hero of the 2015 elections who vehemently refused to compromise his integrity even when threats of indefinite suspension and all sorts stared at him in the face. For the sake of the Nigerian democracy, he insisted on justice and a transparent election that gave flesh to the Nigerian democratic values. His influence cannot be overemphasized, and it landed Nigerians a rare victory.
You're welcome back, viewers. It's still on to Politics with KO, live from London, Ben TV. Well, we've been talking about Maiduguri and the insurgency, and I can't call it an amazing moment, but I can say we've learned so much about what's going on in Maiduguri and the other side of Maiduguri. And we still have in the studio Fatima Abubakar. Fatima,
yeah.
So you made mention that there's a part of Borno State that's not been with electricity for 5 years.
Yeah.
What's the name of the village?
That's Banki, close to Bama local government.
Close to Bama.
Yeah,
and that's
it's a
bordering
rural
Cameroon.
area, yeah, bordering Cameroon.
Now I've got a question for you, and this is coming from social media, and that question says, this is at Denjola says, how can we help? What can we do? It's good enough to talk about the situation in Maiduguri, but what can we do to help the people of Borno and those facing insurgency in the north? That's a question from the social media.
I've studied the refugee experience extensively, and based on my research, because it applies to me and I feel like I'm an internally displaced person myself, and because of there are a range of problems that you encounter as you go through the insurgency. It starts from basic needs like safety and food and shelter, right down to needs like self-esteem and actualization, maybe feeling like you belong in a community. So for now, I think our basic necessities are what we need in Borno State generally. So we can start with food and clothing and health, and because we have a health crisis at the moment, there's malnutrition. Even the adults look malnourished. So I feel like food and medicines and the basic amenities that you need are what we can supply.
Okay, viewers, if you're listening to that, people in Maiduguri and of course those facing insurgency in the northern part of Nigeria, they need your support. Well, I should say, people in Nigeria need the support of the international community because there's a lot of poverty in the land, and we hope that the incoming government would try and fight the issue of unemployment, especially as it relates to youth unemployment. But specifically about Maiduguri, when you talk about internally displaced persons, is Maiduguri the main center where people rush to when there's been attacks? How many local governments do they have in Borno State?
We have 27 local governments, and during the insurgency, I don't know, I would like to assume that they focused on the main centers where our trade goes on, like Baga, and Bama is a major political town as well. So they focused on all the larger communities. And when
you say they, you mean the
insurgents, yeah. Because when the insurgents focused on the larger communities, everyone trooped to Maiduguri. So at the moment, Maiduguri is saturated. When I was there in March 15th, even the nursing homes, the beds were completely full. people coming in from the rural areas needed health facilities, and we can no longer cope. We international agencies to come in.
And we've got the National NEMA, National Emergency Agency. What are they doing?
I think that it should be a holistic approach. We want everyone to come in as much as possible. So you wouldn't say this person isn't doing anything. We would want anyone who can come in and feels that he can give humanitarian assistance for the crisis. Okay. So we're happy with any help.
Yeah, we're talking about young children here who some are born into the insurgency. Yeah. The insurgency has been going on for about 6 or more years, or even way back 2009. And there are people who are actually born into the crisis. They don't know anything other than gunshots and bomb blasts and blood and sorrows and tears. What can be done to actually take care of them psychologically? Are there plans in place?
To be honest, the UNHCR has stepped in, but we need more health facilities, health communities to come in and help us, because the psychological trauma is the main thing I'm worried about on the children as well as the adults. And it's been shown worldwide that post-war there will be post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, all kinds of psychological pain that you go through. So we would love counseling sessions for our communities, and that anything that the humanitarian...
Okay, Fatima Abubakar, we're so happy to have you on this program. We want to thank you for coming. Time runs so fast that we've come to the end of today's show. Is there anything you want to say quickly, because I can see disappointment?
Yeah, there are a lot of issues around Maiduguri. I think if we go on, we would take 5 hours before we finish them, but we want people to be optimistic. We want to rejuvenate our community, rebuild our state, and then continue with our lives. So it's optimism that I want to end with.
All right, thank you so much. Viewers, we've come to the end of today's show. We want to thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday. It's Politics with KO. Good night, and God bless you. God bless Nigeria. This is Ben Television. My name is Kayode Okundamisi. It's your program, Politics with KO. Thursdays on this channel, Sky 182.
Difficult to actually pick what is sincere, whether politicians are saying the truth. You have to run sometimes to get out of the road when there's no traffic light. But one thing is sure, Nigerians want a conversation about their country. What we do on Politics with KO is get the conversation rolling about Nigeria and Africa. And it's 9 p.m. UK time, 10 p.m. Nigerian time during the winter period.
My name is Kayode Okundamisi. This is Ben Television. My name is Kayode Okundamisi. It's your program, Politics with KO. Thursdays on this channel, Sky 182.
Difficult to actually